Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah, yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey.
Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome to the SPL Waiting Room, your one-stop shop for all things SMITEPro League. My name's Gormizer, and I've got a field of people, and one who's not even in the intro. That would have been really, really complicated and really difficult, but it would have been fun. I got J-Mac, I got Shelly, and I got HADDIX, who's going to be sitting in here, because a little bit later, we're going to be talking about Solo Lane, and, you were here, so it made way more sense to ask you about it, since you kind of do that thing. But, of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about last week, especially for me, because I was on vacation, so it'll be really good to try and get some claws in on that. I know I saw a few 3-0s on Sunday, I think on Friday, and the Hounds and the Glad sets, but I heard a lot about specifically Saturday, and that's the one that's the very first thing that we're going into is the week 5 highlights are looking at those is the Dragons versus the Kings and the Fairman versus the Warriors. And I know that the Fairman versus the Warriors was the one that when I realized that it was on the 21st, I was actually a little upset that I was on vacation because that was a set that I was really looking forward to watch. And therefore, guess what I'm going to be doing is going to youtube.com/SmiteVod and watching that one.
Good call.
Just to make sure that I
plug.
And see, we got to weave it all together. But before that happened, J-Mac specifically, because that morning we had another one, right? The Kings have not been on the up and up lately, and they needed a little bit more. Unfortunately for them, they did still fall to the Dragons, but they definitely gave them some trouble. And on the other side of that is the Dragons, that after the Coast pickup, it feels like there's that honeymoon phase conversation, I think, that always has to come in with roster swaps. I think y'all were on that when you picked up Scream last year, right? Or am I thinking? I'm thinking of somebody else.
You were thinking of the Dragons.
You're thinking of the Dragons when they picked up the
Dragons again last year.
We did not have a honeymoon phase.
You didn't?
No, I think that started off a couple of losses for y'all immediately with that one.
We unretired him for 3 days, and he came in, and we played SPL for 2 sets, and didn't go well.
His first game, I remember his first game. He came out and he was 0-8. Yeah. Yep. So
I remember all the memes that popped up during those days.
You came fresh out of the fridge, fresh out of the freezer.
Look, you know what? If you've been retired for even a little bit, I understand it. I don't think I'd be able to. I think I'd have done worse, but that's a different conversation. Either way, honeymoon phase there for the Dragons, J-Mac, over the Kings. They still find their win. And I remember that one, there was definitely more, I think, tension and kind of punch behind it from the Kings than expected, considering some of their last few sets.
Yeah, I think the important thing for the Kings in this one is that they finally had a set that wasn't 3-0, whether it was them being 3-0'd or them getting the 3-0. This is, I believe, the first set for the Camelot Kings that goes a little bit further in. So finally getting some of the practice for the later sets, but I think the most important thing is now we are starting to see the Kings kind of diversify their wins a little bit more. They're not, just waiting for Yarkor to move in, and they're not waiting for, maybe Variety to not necessarily have a bad Soul Lane game, or even for Captain Twig to have his pop-off performance for this team to win, which I think is the important part for the Camelot Kings, is they need, I think more than anything, even if it was just a single game win, some of these matchups were really close there. They're still kind of experimenting with things here and there, which I think is good. I think Big Man Ting still put it best of these guys are playing a bit on hard mode compared to some of the other teams in the league. They're kind of just now getting into the Guardian, the new age kind of mage style of solo play that's been going through over there on Variety's side. Yarkor is looking comfortable again, but I think to the Jade Dragon side of this one, they look just fine with Coast. In fact, they might look better than they have at any point during this year with Coast now on this team. He's offered a level of aggression that Mike loves to play. Anytime you talk to Mike, he's always the run-it-down style of player. I think of hyper-aggressive picks when it comes to Mike. And this Aphrodite pick that Mike has been going back to, in the past, was not a fan of it. Did not look good. No reason I would ever want to see him go on there. Now it feels like it's almost a must ban against Mike because he's been doing really well on it. He's not dominating games, but he's making sure to keep Coast alive and allow him to have that level of aggression in the dual lane that we've really been waiting for. Coast is playing complete night and day difference to what Vote was. Vote was, I'm waiting until 20, I get my items, now we're going to fight now that I'm online. Coast is, I hit level 2 on wave, do I have a jump? Yes, I'm playing on her, we're getting in there, and we're getting active, where even on her is starting to become kind of that, maybe not necessarily a must ban, but it feels like that has become the comfort pick for Forge Coast in the duo lane. So if I see on her Afro in a draft from the Dragons, I'm praying for whatever duo lane is going against them, because Coast has really turned that duo lane around as a whole. And it's also just allowed Lazarus to be able to get more active across the map, where before Lazarus not going to dual lane because Vote's not going to step up and get aggressive. He's not going to try and play through there. So Lazarus trying to play through mid lane to get Dardas get Dardas comfortable, or he's trying to go over to the solo lane, make sure that Nika can have a good time. Now Lazarus has the pick of the field. It says, hey, where's the weakest lane? I'm going there no matter what, and really get that aggressive nature that we're more so accustomed to from the Jade Dragons back online.
I do remember, it was like just like the first set they played with Ghost, and he had 2 games on her where he just looked really good. And there was somebody just like, oh yeah, well, see how good he is without his on her. And then he played Rom, and he was also still really good. Because it turns out Coast is just pretty good over there. Yeah. I'm actually, again, that was another one that I really unfortunate that I missed out on watching it live, but I'm excited to see what they have, especially like you guys got to sit around. You only had the one set on Sunday, right? So like, were you just kind of vibing and watching SPL on Saturday?
I mean, I was just watching some of the sets. I didn't get to see like every single game because I'm not gonna sit down for like that many hours. I definitely watched most of the games. Yeah.
It was a fun weekend, and then Chelly, of course, that leads into the one that I saw a lot of people saying that like there were people who were like, "This is my prediction for finals. This is like these are the 2 teams that." There were 2 sides of the conversation of either prediction for finals or which one of these teams is going to be the one that chokes the hardest, like things like that. But like giving you a set that goes all 5 that feels like one of those very not even just like high level, but like high pressure. Everything's on the line. Even though it's just like week 4 and the phase, like
everything's on the line.
It has a lot more like kind of underlying beneath it, and that was the Fairman and the Warriors, and it was sick.
What I remember was, first of all, I was desking that set with Miff, which is already going to be memorable in its own right.
Good way, bad way.
Yeah, just
memorable.
Yeah, Miff trying to steer the conversation about analyzing that game is always fun because that's just the way he plays. But yeah, I think that we had a lot of questions about the Oni Warriors. Are they going to be, I think we had a Netroid interview before the set even started. Mm-hmm. And he said something along the lines of, the Ferrymen like to slow down the pace of the game. We're not going to adhere to that. And then I kind of saw the exact opposite in play. It did seem like he
was capping.
He was, a capaholic for sure. They really slowed it down. They drafted to like the Ferryman style. And you're not going to beat the Ferryman at their own game. I was very concerned with the way that they handled the drafts and things like that because, again, listening to that interview, I was like, yeah, Netroid spitting. That is exactly what they need to do. Play aggressive. Don't let them get late game. And then they didn't draft pressure. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit concerning. So the Ferryman, if you're going to try and bring them to that late game, that's where they're going to thrive, and that's kind of where they've built this sort of meta for themselves where...
This was crazy.
Yeah.
What is he doing? What was he doing?
That was the first kill of the game, right? Yeah, the first kill the Oni Warriors had 7-1. And I'm pretty sure that was
crazy.
that was a rough game for the Warriors there. But that's my point. They're picking Jingwei mid. Like, you're not picking Jingwei mid if you're trying to get aggressive early. So I found that a bit confusing. But the fact that Paul can still go to Hell is also scary. Like, there's so many picks you have to take away from Paul. And then he's like, I don't know, man, maybe Hell's good. And I remember calling on the desk, like, hey, Odin could be a good pick here if Sot wants to go to it. And then Panatom picks it up, and Sot goes to, like, Hades or something like that. That was another puzzling moment for me. I felt like if Sot had the Odin, maybe it goes a bit better. But in the whole grand scheme of solo lane matchups, if you're not picking pressure mages, I guess you just lose lane entirely. Maybe we can ask this guy in a second. Maybe that's the reason the Odin. Maybe that's the reason the Odin didn't go into the solo lane. But I felt it was just peculiar play from the Oni Warriors, in my opinion.
And it honestly, it's that weird mentality. There's kind of a mix, right? And I've seen like, again, a lot of people talking about it across the post-thread discussions on Twitter, et cetera, just talking about how good this set was. But all I can think of is I can't remember who it was, and if I did, I probably still wouldn't say their name because it's putting them on blast. But I remember seeing a comment that was like, man, if you take away Baba and Set, what can Paul play? And the only thing I thought was like, dude, have you not watched like any of the last 3 years of competitive play?
I think I saw that one immediately. Like, oh well, he's got Raijin, he's got Hebo, he's got Hell, he's got this, he's got that, and I'm like,
Morgan
yeah,
Le
but
Fay,
those two are kind of like Mickey characters. It's like, dude, he just put up like a 9-1 Hebo game last phase, like a legacy moment.
You didn't even mention the Pwash, man. The Pwash
was clean.
Yeah, the Pwash was clean.
That's the most recent one.
I
that's
hate
really
giving credit to the Pwash. You know me. If I'm gonna roast a pick, I'm gonna roast the Pwash. But unfortunately, he's here to stay. At least for what it seems like.
And see, you know what, Shelly? I like that. You like teed this up perfectly because the Pwash, who has been around, has been running over into solo lane, which is what the next half of this kind of conversation has been, right?
My
It's like
goodness.
last week there were a lot of really good ones, and then it's just what's the deal with the mages? We have Raijin, Morgan Le Fay, we got Apwash,
Anubis.
Anubis has been over there.
Anubis is OP.
What? Ao Kwang?
I think
no,
we haven't seen a Kwang yet.
Okay, I have not seen a Kwang.
I was saying that I think we might start seeing some Kwang solo, but we'll see.
And then I think, you know what, on that same line of conversation, I think you had added Eshell because she just got buffed as a maybe.
I think, yeah, we were
Maybe she could,
Me and
maybe
Miff
she
were
could.
both asked to put one god in that list that we thought could be
Nice.
played. I said Ao Kwang, Miff said Ishel.
Okay.
She did get crazy buffed.
I like it. I really do like how you're like immediately.
I'm just like,
trying to,
I didn't say
yeah. You're like, I'm not gonna.
Ao Kwang with this tank lifesteal build seems a lot better than Ishel, but we'll see. The buffs
So-
could be nuts.
The best thing I think, or the easiest thing, is HADDIX. What's up with the mages? What makes them so much better? Over
What's
there?
up with the mages? I mean, there's a lot of different things. Mages get a base 40 power for their class.
That's pretty good.
Pythags is one of the only items in the games that has 16% lifesteal for yourself for some reason,
Okay.
which is quite silly. Pythag has always been really good for like all cylinders. Like Cthulhu's ran it for a while, right?
Yeah.
But right now, it's because Vamp Shot guys. 6% lifesteal, 16% from Pythags, and then you get a Typhon's Last, which, now you have like a bunch of free power. You're capped on lifesteal.
And breastplate.
And also,
Yeah, breastplate's also really
Who wants
good.
to pick
right?
a warrior into
good.
breastplate?
Breastplate's another big thing because Breastplate's obviously a very good item right now. And you don't want to be a physical into Breastplate. It's much better to be a magical into Breastplate.
Yeah.
So if you can build the Breastplate and counter the physicals, and then also have some of the best like pressure in the game and insane power, you don't even need a dive. You just like range on people. You can actually kill people if you're a mage, and your lane's obviously very good on most of the mages.
Yeah, you can clear a little easier.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that add up into it. And
That
then
just kinda
obviously
line up.
warriors are lacking in some items, things like that.
But are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
That's maybe the bigger question.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm a fan of changing metas.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I don't mind playing and adapting to a new meta. It's going to be, what do I want to play? Bologna Osiris?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like I've
Do I want to play King Arthur?
Yeah, get your
Colin? I will. I don't mind, but like I like swapping it up. You know?
I used to do mid ADC, and then I switched to mid solo, and now I've been solo mid because you just get to cringe on some other dude with a mage. Whoever comes out on top gets to rotate first, and then you still one shot. Like you can build tank, it's still one shot.
What I'm confused about is why are people so upset about Raijin, Apwash, and like these other mages when Hades has been a solo laner for so long, and he's literally one of the most annoying, oppressive solo laners to play against in the game. And how is it like all of a sudden, Raijin, whoa, we can't have that. But like Hades, I don't get it, dude.
I think the big thing that's kind of been maybe kind of up and on that trend has been the downward spiral of warriors comparatively. If you look back to like week number 1 and 2 of SPL, you're looking at 7, maybe 8 different kinds of warriors that are being played in the lane. Week number 5, there was only 3. There was Amaterasu, Hercules, and Sun Wukong. Those are the only 3 that have been sticking around for solo lane. So we're seeing more of the mages. I think this week had the most mages at like 6 or 7 mages that kind of popped over into solo. But I think the thing that people kind of harp on the most is just that it's not even like it's a bunch of like diverse build paths and stuff like that. It's pretty much a
That Aegis
style
just
of
went
build.
so hard right there,
so
by the way.
cringe for this.
Like,
Okay.
Did you even corpse explosion once? I think you
I
just
did twice here.
you just keep picking them up. Okay, there you go.
yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of what HADDIX is saying.
Not done, Gore.
The build is really good. Yeah, he went on like that for a whole while.
Are so good.
But essentially, the cookie cutter build has become the Vamp Shroud into Blood Soak. Then you get Pythags, Breastplate, Genjis, Typhons, and then situational last item. You have insane amount of lifesteal. You with the blue buff and a blue augment, or even just the cooldown buff, you're nearly or at cap CDR from second, third item at that point. You're doing more damage than any warrior could ever hope to, and you get to do it from super far away at that.
You're also tankier than most characters in the game.
Yeah, and you're just tanky because, I mean, breastplate gives you, was it 55 base? Genji's gives you, I think,
7
60.
per stack,
and then the 7 per stacks, you're at 81 physical, 28 magical
doubles,
that you get from that one, double it
when it procs. And you get 20% movement speed, so you can't die.
What it sounds like is like I can finally play solo again and not like be miserable when I'm doing like if Bologna's meta, I'm good, or if mages are meta, I'm good. Like, and for me, for anyone who's been watching Smite for a while, that means that I was really good in like season 2 and Bologna's just in weird.
Did you have a Hades in the back pocket? If
No,
not,
I've never had a good Hades in the back pocket.
Unlucky.
Like I used to be a real mean, like release Chang'e, or not release Chang'e, release Nuwa before they changed her kit, and Chang'e, and those were like my 2 solo laners. Is Chang'e coming back? Can she hold?
She might be.
Can she hold her own?
I will say.
I love watching Chang'e.
I will say that
Her
not
ult's so
all
fun.
these mages are OP. Like it's a new like meta, and people are trying to like discover what's good in this new meta. So a lot of these are like kind of flavor of the picks, like flavor of the month picks, and they're trying to just like see if it's good. But yeah, I mean, once breastplate gets nerfed, mages are going to be a lot worse.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's how it's going to go.
And then we're gonna go back to
because it did take a while. Wasn't it right on the 10-10 patch that
the second breastplate got buffed?
Yeah,
started playing it.
Yeah, and that started in week 2 of SPL, and we were still barely seeing a mage over there. We were seeing like Hades and maybe the Opwash if like Baskin was playing at that point. And then I think a random Raijin from like Final K or Nico were like the only like kind of mages we were seeing. So it took like 3 or 4 weeks for this meta to really solidify.
I got to give Baskin some wild credit that he was trying to play Opwash solo before any of those changes. Like for some reason he was locked in on that.
Well, Nico played the Raijin a long time ago too in the Yorm. So the Raijin's kind of come about.
I've always been there.
It's been there to counter specific picks because he's good at punishing people like that.
I know. So last week we did see Anubis, and you had said Anubis OP. So I'm locking in on that.
Anubis is OP.
I want to, because you threw a god and Myth threw a god. I just kind of want to, like, if it's gonna reveal too much, and I say that now, then he has to answer him, because then if he doesn't talk about it, people know. So like reverse psychology or something. I don't know. As are Ao Kwang and Ishel, because those were thrown on there. Like, are they capable of being in that conversation, or are they people that you're not even thinking about?
Well, those characters are definitely capable. I mean, they're mages in this current meta.
They're mages, so they're good.
They're mages, so they are playable. Those picks are probably gonna be better than most of the warrior picks you can play. But are they gonna be better?
One's better than the other, right? Like between the two.
Which one is better?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Like, would you say Trelly or Myth is smarter? Is what I'm asking.
I mean, who knows? The thing about those mages, they're obviously not going to be as good as the other mages that have range. Like, those are both 2 close range mages. The thing that's so good about the other mages is that they're long range and they have the best pressure in solo.
You could just wink T or M. Just blink once and it's oh, there we go. All right, we got
once for Trelly.
We got our answer.
Well, I think, and actually,
shotgun mages are going to be worse than the long range mages.
Especially because after, like, Raijin is the best example, where it's like, cool, all of his damage is from range, and he's got a dash to get him even further away.
His jump is broken.
So, am I crazy?
Yes.
Pagon, well, yeah, but Pagon, it feels like, only uses it aggressively. So is Pagon just insane when he's playing Raijin, or is that like
Daniel's definitely one of the most aggressive players in the entire?
Because like that seems like outrageous to use your dash to in-game.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of people like, that's why Raijin solo is also very good, because you can actually use your jump.
Build tanky to back up dash.
You can actually jump in off cooldown, and it's such a strong ability when you can spam jump in. Also, your ult is good because you can sit in your ult for so long and not just die in it, like compared to like mid lane Raijin. But yeah, I mean, Daniel, he's just a little bit different. He just jumps in and dies.
A little bit different.
He does like doing that.
You saw Snoopy do it a few weeks back and went, "That looks really cool."
I mean, Daniel's been
I could do that, but maybe better. I know the other half of this, because like a lot of it's like, oh, mages are good right now, right? And there's been like another portion of it, which is like, what are warriors missing that would bring them in? And some people are like, give them more power, bring back hybrid items. The one that we wrote down was specifically something Mike had said, which was changing some of the tank relics to make it a little bit more, to essentially to punish your mages, to punish carries. The quote we have written down is, the fix would be making the relics tanks have to punish carries be good against.
He's talking about Thorns or something.
Yes,
Thorns and stuff. He was going in on Thorns.
You would still lose. Like, mages would still be OP, even if Thorns is OP right now. Mages would still be better because you're not getting Thorns until level 12, so you're still losing. You're still losing your early. I mean, it just comes to they have too much lifesteal, breastplate's too OP, they have too much free power, they're way too tanky, they're way too safe. I mean, and warriors, what are you gonna do about them having like full healing every wave off Vamp Shot and Pythags? Like you're gonna go tainted?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good on every character.
Just gonna cry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to go about buffing it and removing mages, like nerfing breastplate, nerfing Pythags.
I want to remove the mages.
Yeah,
That's-
you don't. People hate it though. People literally hate it. I've seen like so many complaints.
A lot of it. Like,
I mean, I get it. Raj and Opwash, they are annoying to play against.
Yeah.
So I get it. But like Hades too, bro. Like, add him in there, bro.
And it feels it's one of those things. If in the perfect world, probably right is like, okay, if it's only Raijin and Opwash, I guess Morgan Le Fay too a little bit, but like knock down some of the ones that've been over there. Through whatever means they need, but like I like the concept that like if you want to, you could lock in a Tonga, you could or you could lock in a Hercules.
More diversity is more fun.
Yeah, and especially like at least and this is way beyond where we're at. Like I just cast the game, and so design gets to do what design thinks is best for it. But I know that I've enjoyed solo maybe the most in those moments where it is like you could play in theory anything, right? It was like your own little island to just kind of do whatever you wanted, and it was like warriors kind of dominated it, but sometimes, hey, let's throw an assassin over there. I'm gonna play a guardian, I'm gonna play a mage, I'm gonna play a carry. And like we've gotten some of those metas, like Uller was big in solo for a little bit, like last year, 2 years ago, whenever that was. And so it's
whenever warriors become worse, that's when you start
everybody
seeing
else
everything
surges
else.
up.
That's when you start seeing hunters, assassins, mages.
and I'm okay with that. At least like little spurts of it. I guess we'll see because there's a lot of patches
It's
between like
usually
now and
quickly removed though. Like they kind of like
They come in, they get their 4 weeks, and then they get out.
Yep, they get out.
What about old Glad Shield? Boom, warriors are back. Like King
I would not mind.
King Arthur.
Hey, I would
old
not
Glad
mind. Hey,
Shield.
and we're talking about like healing Glad
Yeah,
Shield.
healing Glad Shield to match the Typhons. Boom. Now we got
1700.
Now we got a scrap
And
fest.
we got all those King Arthur buffs that came with the spicy changes. And we get a
That
Glad
item was
Shield.
1700 gold, by the way. It was
I'm
like
gonna
the
keep
best
it
item in the
honestly.
game.
Oh
and it was
yeah.
1700
Oh, that's right,
gold.
because it was a tier 2 before that.
It was crazy.
We could do
Willikers.
They were cooking back then, bro. They were cooking.
I think I'd be pretty happy if like I didn't see King Arthur for another like year.
He's
straight.
been dead
I'd-
forever, bro.
Yeah.
He's been dead forever since like,
It's just
season 8.
there was that Cucullin King Arthur. That was like the beginning of season 8. I feel like it dominated for so long. And I remember even looking it up at one point because people were like, "Wow, how many times do they play each other?" And like you never really got to see them both in the same game. One would always be banned and the other picked. But like you saw them constantly. They were in every game one way or another, and it was just.
I was having fun.
You were having fun.
I was having fun.
You know what? If you're having fun, I don't care what
he's
I'm
the King
watching.
Arthur
then.
guy.
I was
He's
having
allowed
fun.
to.
Personally, I prefer being able to kill my soul laner and being able to like threaten the other guy, and being able to win my lane through
Yeah.
pressure than like just I'm here slapping this guy. I'm
Yeah.
just farming the team fight.
I will say, I also hate when you're just slapping each other because it means that at least like spectator wise, there's literally no reason
the
to
right
look over
side
there.
of the map will not
It
be
does
looked
not
at.
matter. If we see the jungles walk up, it'll be like, oh man, who's gonna win the invade? Someone's gonna get a blue buff here, and that's the most important thing that can happen.
Or no, they will die. Mages will
Oh yeah,
die.
mages will kill them
Mages
or
will die, yeah.
die.
Or they will die.
I'm trying to remember which set it was. There was a point where Lasbro was walking over to get a gank for Nika, and Nika just soloed his lane opponent, and then Lasbro just stood in the jungle and went,
Oh, that was against Harry.
it was against Variety.
was
I couldn't
playing
remember if it was
Opwash.
Variety or Ducky. It's one of those
Yeah,
two.
when he was Raijin,
Yeah, he just walked over and 1-2'd him.
dashed away right into the 1-2 combo, and you see Lasbro standing off to the side jungle like, oh, I was gonna gank that lane, but I guess you could just do it yourself, man. Cool, have
didn't even
fun.
get the assist.
No, he was out of range.
And you know, Variety really wanted to say, like, oh, Lasbro was here. Like I got ganked, but nope, didn't even get the assist.
He had to wait just a few more seconds.
He got him back though. He got him back with the Serb. which-
No, true.
Why are we picking Serb and Ama? When you can just be Outwatch and Raijin. That's
Because they're
crazy.
banned.
Yeah, but like just don't. ban.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just ban those two in your set.
Is there because we like magical damage is the biggest thing, and we talked a lot about like mages, but like are there still like the Serb? Like are there still like a lot of guardians that can,
No,
can do well?
there's a lot of options that are like viable in solo right now for sure. Like there's definitely a big pool of gods you can play right now.
Nice.
It just comes down to like usually you're gonna see like the first like 6 characters because they're not gonna be banned out.
Yeah.
You're gonna eventually drop down to that. Then maybe they'll ban like 2 or 3. They'll pick one. You're gonna see nothing past the bottom 6 or like the top 6 though. Usually.
It blew my mind that one of the highlights we had was Fine OK playing Kuzenbo because I was like, oh my god, like I forgot Kuzenbo existed.
Yeah, that game was a little bit rough for him. I remember. I think they kept diving him or something.
Yeah, that is he's not fun a lot of the times to play against most of the time because he
Once
just
you
like
get the
you hit
team
him real
fights and he's
hard,
having fun.
he hurts you. But yeah, if you can make it there, it's all fun, man. And I'm excited to see where it goes, especially because who knows like what the next changes are going to be and who it's going to hit, and if it's going to be solo or if like suddenly carries are the next busted thing.
Wouldn't mind.
And then you're starting to pick up. Maybe you start taking Jingwei over in the air lane.
I remember actually
Hunter
someone did
solo.
play that once.
That was Masters last year. We had that meta.
AMC Chernobog solo
and Jingwei occasionally. Jingwei usually always made its way to the carry. Uller was the other solo one.
It's just that dude, man. Give me a blue buff as well. I'll be happy. But
and he got changed too. He got buffed this patch too.
Oh my god, Ulu's OP.
Oh my god.
Might be back?
Question mark. We also had the Charon that you were showcasing earlier, Charlie. Like I don't know. We got the.
I wish Charon was OP and solo. I wish.
full damage Charon goes.
Full damage Charon. If the other, as long as the other team can't build defense, then he goes real hard. Yeah. And also, you have 3 counters to most of their team on your side.
You can just one-shot someone across the map if they're not paying attention and no one calls it out.
Yeah, and also, max cooldown.
Like they have like no hands to juke the ability. Then
let's just buff Bobble to be like 80% CDR instead of 50.
I don't tell people still wouldn't.
And we solved it.
Everyone loves Bobble, right? Like they love playing against Bobble.
Yeah,
right?
it was their favorite item.
It was their favorite item on release, right?
Well, the next thing is the match of the week. Which this coming week, there were a lot to try and decipher from. And to the point where I'm actually even blanking on some of them. I think tomorrow, y'all play the Hounds, then you play Ravens Leviathans. I think is going to be really fun, and so maybe there's something to be talking about.
It's probably going to be a boring watch because it's going to be like so easy and so fast.
Oh yeah.
3-0.
Quick 3-0. It's going to be really lame to watch. It's going to be too dominant.
Don't tune in. Sunday afternoon, Ravens Leviathans.
It's going to be way too fast.
Too fast.
Too furious.
The bad blood Zap left that team. They're going to be feeling enraged.
No, he got
he got kicked.
He got kicked.
He's going to be feeling
He got kicked.
Steven has the power buff
you're right.
to beat them.
Good point. Good, and that's why it's a 3-0, right?
Yep,
that's the aforementioned. Yeah.
Steven's actually going to care for that set.
See, and this is why I got to come back in. Like, I've got vacation brain still going. I'm trying to clear the cobwebs.
And that's the only time that they'll face off for this phase.
Yeah,
we see it like during playoffs.
I think we played them like once this year, or twice this year.
That's like 6 weeks of build up now that Zap's gotten to have with that squad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. This will be the second time.
Yep.
Well, no, it's the only time.
This entire year.
Yeah, because like you didn't meet during Masters or anything. So
we were on the opposite sides of the brackets.
Yeah, opposite in phase 1, opposite in brackets. Yeah.
There you go. But
it'll be easy though.
Now I have to go back and look at. If you've only played once this year, I should know what happened the last set to make sure.
I don't remember actually.
Let's just say like you won.
Oh wait, we won. Yeah, we did actually win. It was.
Because they were 2-7. It's kind of an easy bet.
She was on ping.
Oh, okay.
But it was going to be easy.
Yeah, it was.
We're going much like what's going to be happening on Sunday. But the match of the week that we had is Kings and Fairman. It has nothing to do with the Ravens and Leviathans, which is an interesting one. Again, Fairman just because they're like super dope right now, and the Kings because they have been absolutely dominant. But although right now maybe kind of 50-50 on it, and so I'd say there's 2 match of the weeks. But I just field the feels from everybody, and you know what, J-Mac, we'll go to you first. Kings and Fairman, like some of your thoughts on that matchup.
I think this one is another case of you just cannot let the Fairman get comfortable. I've been saying this pretty much the entire phase just because it's pretty much how they kind of dictated the game all the way starting back at Masters and probably even before that, is the Fairman know how to absolutely control the pace of a game. If they are losing 10,000 gold down by 15-20 minutes, they're going to sit there and go, all right, guys, we are not going to fight. We might step up to an objective, but we are going to sit back and we're going to hold the fort for the next 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to hope that they do not just absolutely run us down during that. And if we have succeeded there, we have a fight back. The Fairmen are a team that know how to slow down the game. They will drag you out to 45 if they need to. And usually if they are able to, they're going to find a win somehow. So I think the important thing for the Camelot Kings is to not fall into the trap and not give them the super good gods for each of those players, which is getting harder to say now because it was a lot simpler a few weeks ago. It was no Baba Yaga, no Chernobog, no Amaterasu. That was easy. It made it easier to beat them, not necessarily a guarantee. Now that the mage solos have become a thing over there, it's harder to ban against Baskin. Paul has a whole bunch of picks that he can go towards now. It's no longer just the Baba Yaga. Sino is bringing some assassins back right now. The Nemesis.
That's crazy.
But he still has so many other things that he can go to as well. And then Aurora and Cyclone feel like they don't really eat up bans. I mean, yeah, you're going to ban Yamoja, Chernobog. And then after that, it's what do you want to deal with against those guys? So I think for the Camelot Kings, it's getting something early in the draft for Twig, something he's comfortable on. I've been loving the Hun Bats that he's been bringing back. It's his most played god competitively. It's one of his more successful picks. I'm not saying just pick that every single time or ban every single time if you're against him, but find picks like that get him back into kind of his old groove. The Lancelot has had good moments, and outside of like the 14-1 game that he had, it hasn't looked like that must-ban God against Twig that we kind of thought it might have ended up being. He hasn't had that same level of pop-off on the pick. So I'd like to see some stronger fallbacks. 3, 4, 5 picks. You got to have those comfortable ones to go to where you're still going to play consistent. The Robin's been a little hit or miss. I haven't been loving the Robin, but I haven't been hating it from him. So if that's kind of just his fallback, I'm not going to lose the game style of pick, that's fine. But you don't want to play against the Ferryman to not lose. You have to play to win against that team. Otherwise, they will steamroll over you.
I want to give it made me laugh way too hard, and I almost feel bad about it, but not bad enough to not say anything. Which is Lamont in chat said Camelot Kings and match of the week should not be in the same sentence. And I almost called you Myth because it feels like that's the mentality. That's the kind of like phrasing and discussion point he would have. But Trelly, that's kind of like what half of this is, right? It's like you've got the Ferrymen who are super hot, just beat the Warriors.
Yep.
And then you've got the Kings who've been struggling. It definitely feels like it is an uphill battle on one side. Yeah,
I'm definitely heavily favoring the Ferrymen going into a matchup like this. I've been liking the uptake from Twig and Variety. It hasn't just been you're guaranteed to see them losing pressure. You're guaranteed to see Variety getting ganked and sort of just getting behind. Where it was like that a couple weeks ago, but it's still a changing meta where that's been a big issue for the Kings. We've talked to them a few times where it's like we're having trouble adapting. We don't quite have all these, as J-Mac was saying, these top tier picks that we can go to pretty consistently. Sometimes the Lancelot looks good, but other times Twig can't get it rolling or it just gets banned away. Variety, those Warriors aren't looking too hot. He started switching up. He went to the Raijin, and even then. There was some good, there was some bad from it. So definitely an uphill battle, heavily favoring the Ferrymen. But, there's always a chance that, I really have been liking what Quig's been doing on this squad. That's something that I think has been looking a lot better for them. So, and Tings as well. Tings has always been a high point. Whenever we talk about the Camelot Kings, I think Tings actually does stay, even if they're behind 10,000 gold, he's on par or at least even. So he's always making big plays for the squad. So there is still definitely room for the Camelot Kings to fight into this matchup, but it's just not looking easy to really knock the Ferrymen off their game for really any team right now.
Do you have any thoughts on this matchup, HADDIX, that stand out?
I think Kings have been looking a lot better. I think before, whenever you see Kings, you think they're a very easy team to beat right now. It's just whenever Twig and Harry, they kind of have very off moments sometimes together. They're literally linked for some reason when they both just start just having big problems over on that side of the map, and it makes it very hard for the rest of their team to win. But Twig and Harry they've been playing well again recently, so they're going to be back to they're going to do better for sure. But obviously, Ferryman's looked like the hardest team to beat in the league.
Yeah.
So I think Kings have a shot, but it's going to be difficult for sure.
It's a lot of it's okay, Sino playing all the run jungle, that might give you another little opportunity back into the game. It's been real fun watching. The Fairman have given us some really, let's call them interesting drafts that have been able to come through. And the big thing that I think stands out to me is that Saturday feels stacked again, because last week Dragons Kings was a really good one into a Warriors sets with the Ferryman. Now it's Kings Ferryman that's immediately going to Warriors Dragons, so it feels like that's just going to be a really, really good solid back-to-back Saturday. So you're not going to want to miss out on Saturday. I think that you should tune in to watch
quick set Sunday,
a very quick set 3-0 Ravens Leviathans. That has been the prediction that we've gotten out here,
real quick and easy.
And man, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for the SPL. We're in the downward spiral at this point, right? Because we got this week with 3 days. Next week it's only Saturday and Sunday. And then the regular season, at least for the Road to Worlds regular season, is it
an uphill battle or a downward spiral? Who can say?
You know what, Trelly? Who can
You could say right now.
I could, or I could let you decide. You, the viewer
at home, get to decide when you watch Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, or I guess one Friday, just the one Friday, tomorrow at 11 a.m., and then Saturdays and Sundays at 11 a.m. for the next couple of weeks. So we close out the Road to Worlds. For myself, from HADDIX, I almost called you Chaddix because that's the spam.
It fits.
Yeah, if it works, it works. Trelly, and of course, J-Mac, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you during the SBL.